Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Nadex Morning Analysis. It is February 24th. My name is Todd Rich. I'm with Nadex. With me from Keep Trading Simple is Brian Caprice, and we are going to jump into it pretty quickly today because are interesting things happening right now. Today's session is going to be one for the ages. Because we're going to be doing some live analysis on what's going on literally right now as an emotional move is happening in the market. We're not quite even certain why. But before we jump into that, I do need to share. Trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone. That any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And then this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your educational purposes only. Now, I'm going to flip this over here, and here, just to give you a quick idea of what's going on, there is no news. There is no news,
Yeah.
But about...
We're out there searching, and we can't find anything.
We can't find it. But about an hour and a half ago...
Yeah, about an hour and a half, 7:30.
Yeah, about an hour and a half ago, the U.S. dollar just saw some massive strength. Just a strong emotional move. I think Brian's right now showing you the dollar index.
Yep,
we're going to jump over. Index. We'll show you the euro US dollar. I mean, this chart's it straight down. So the dollar just got massively strong. There's a corresponding move in gold. Gold's just getting crushed right now. Out of nowhere, this big emotional move, dollar to the moon. Gold going down. There is no news anywhere. So, I mean, Brian, we can speculate on why this is. Maybe.
Yeah.
We've got Powell who's going to talk in about an hour. But and that's what we want to talk about today. We got Powell talking again. We saw a big emotional move when Powell spoke yesterday, and then a complete recovery. Yep. And then we've got oil inventory coming up later this morning. So let's get into it. What is going on?
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with the dollar. So, and that's kind of what the biggest mover is right now, and it's really affecting gold. I'll show you that chart in a second. So, I mean, we've seen this push up since about 7 o'clock this morning, and you see this large emotional move. There are a number of ways, and as Todd mentioned, we can speculate. It is not uncommon, and I guess there are kind of issues with it, but sometimes information and reports get leaked are prepared ahead of time. It's not like somebody is typing it up as the data is released. There are people privy to that information. Think about the power that Powell has to move the market. He's under testimony. He is being asked questions. That means somebody is writing those questions, and preparing for that. Whoops, I didn't want to go to Apple. So
yeah, there you go.
This could be that somebody the information or knows what's coming, and this is foreshadowing. We would love to say it's a completely fair market, but you see it a lot of times in oil, where hours before, oil just takes this unprecedented move, and then all of a sudden, that unprecedented move matches exactly what the report is when everybody gets it. So I would love to say it's an even field. I know there's some people out there putting on the tinfoil hats right now, and that's not what I'm trying to say. This is a lot of movement at 7 o'clock in the morning, and again, brokerage firms are kind of stepping in line at that point. It is a lot of movement, very, very fast, and it is very, very uncharacteristic of what a normal move is at this time, and especially with no news. If we saw something in here that was absolutely, earth-shattering, it would make sense. But an hour and a half ago, there's really no high-quality news that is popping. The best thing we've seen is J&J minutes ago, but it had already started to move, and we've seen the treasury yields go. So kind of one of those interesting things. Now, looking at this on a technical standpoint, we can mark an area off here, and this is an area we marked off before. This
why don't you let's do this on the euro US dollar instead of the dollar index, if we could do that.
Okay.
I
would just say this is where I would expect a reversal on all the dollars, and it's going to change the gold around as well.
Okay.
So we're not quite there yet. I think if we get one more burst higher, then I would be looking for reversals. I wouldn't change it quite yet. In particular because of gold. Okay, so this is the gold chart that we've been following. You guys can see that we've had quite a bit of a drop down very, very fast. Is it over yet? The answer is probably not. The Nadex is telling us that it's not over yet. So how do we trade it? That's a big question. And again, I want to start with gold first because that's had the biggest mover because it's in direct correlation. We've marked out an area here right below that prior zone that we took the Harry Potter off of. If you guys remember yesterday, I talked about 1814, 1794 on the downside. This little black area here was I was worried about price getting through. And I said, it could break blue. Typically, it doesn't hold many times when you're using a Harry Potter for it. It came down and it literally smashed. Now, with it smashing down about 3/4 of the way down, it's kind of cleared this zone now. So the question is this zone going to be a holder to kind of rally us back in for Powell today? Or we'll start to get some type of a basing level here, which could signify a little bit farther of a drop. So, again, I would say looking at it right now, it does look like it wants to push a little bit higher. It may kind of stabilize a bit, particularly if this 30-minute candle holds. And again, we're only 5 minutes into it right now, but this ascending pattern is definitely a big telltale sign that some buyers in. And again, we got quite a bit of ways to kind of drop on this one lower. So again, this is not necessarily the Powell effect. Do you want to look at anything for gold, or do you want me to switch it over right now?
I'm just going to flip it over because I do want to track. I mean, this is just kind of crazy. I want people to be able to see it. Yesterday we had actually called out a couple of levels in gold.
Up at 1814,
right? Yep. So we just below 1800, and then up around the 1814, 1815 level. And then we actually said, pay attention. We don't know what this is going to do, but we gave you a couple of clear levels where buyers and sellers step in. Powell spoke, and you could see that. Here, let me actually do this a little bit better. You can see that there was this red candle. Powell spoke, and gold tanked. As soon as he started going, we saw, and shortly thereafter, it got down to this level, touched it, and it rallied back. It's kind of what everything did yesterday. If we look at the markets yesterday, the equity indices, Powell spoke, everything went south, and then rallied throughout the day. And here in gold, we can actually see that it actually rallied back up into this 18, 14, 15 level. I mean, it was a little bit of a wild ride. This emotional move down this morning, again, there is no news. The dollar is just exploded. Gold got smashed. I mean, a strong emotional move went all the way through this level. Not really sure what we're going to see, but expect to see volatility. One way to play this in gold, if it's going to be moving around like this, would be with the binary options. Binary options, definitely the probabilities react to the volatility. And if you get some big price swings in gold, there's going to be opportunity with the binary options in a limited risk, defined risk reward way to try to trade this gold as it's moving around until we even find out why it's moving. There is going to be something to look at. All right. I'm going to flip it back to you.
Yeah. And with that said, just so everybody can see this as well about trying to find these opportunities, where would this actually turn this morning at the 1810? This, and again, this is a 15-minute chart. We talked about selling higher, but you can see there's a bit of basing and it's testing this level. We had a test level sitting right in here. We had another testing right here. I'll use this arrow. We had testing happening here. Then this is the UK Open today. You can see the mark right here. This is the UK Open at 3:15 this morning. Here's where we had that same basing in that same level. And then there was and you guys, I mentioned a lot of times that finding these smaller 30-minute, 15-minute levels tend to work out pretty well, particularly around openings. Now this is early, but we already had a confirmation that sellers were in there. So this is absolutely something you guys could have grabbed today. And yesterday we mentioned being higher up on this curve, close to the 18.4, would have been a way to get this one short. And looking at this now, it's pretty interesting because this is that line area. You can see that we had a base, buyer stepped in, buyer stepped in. So this could be an actual reversal area, especially the way that this base is looking right now. So strong emotional push down. Remember, when you want to buy something, do you want to buy it when it's the most expensive price or when it's on sale? So it could be interesting today if somebody's going to ask a question about how they're going to manage or how they're going to manage inflation and what methods they're going to use to manage inflation. Because I'll tell you, if Powell says raise interest rates, even if that will lead gold to bounce right back up again.
Yeah, it would slingshot. So again, just pay attention. Powell spoke yesterday. Emotional move, right? It was it's 10 a.m. Eastern. The markets reacted and then rebounded. We don't know what he's going to be asked today. We don't know what he's going to say. I don't know if somebody knows because something weird's going on. I
unfortunately don't have it. Right?
Yeah, I wish I did. But if he says something about inflation and rates, I mean, yesterday he was very clear that He thought the markets were fine, and he didn't think that any interest rate adjustments were going to be needed, which is why you saw.
Yeah, they were going to manage it closely, but they wouldn't let it get out of hand. But they're not seeing it right now. I mean, a lot of weak statements, more dovish statements than And again, people expected that, but I think it came in slower. Here's also a euro trade that I think we should bring up as well. This euro trade. Turn that off. This euro trade, this euro USD, we mentioned this yesterday. This is one of the things we did the breakdown in. We were talking about it being very, very high in the curve. I also mentioned that I'm really enjoying the shorter duration contract now. The spread width seems to be smaller. Again, in line with everything else we've been doing, I mentioned taking the 30-minute levels at the UK Open. Well, you can see the blue box is the UK Open to where we are right now. You can see the I guess it's called tomato in this one, but the tomato coloring, there was already a supply zone sitting there. We mentioned it being very, very high in the curve. And again, high on the curve right over here means we're definitely looking for, or we are more bearish biased. Here, the spike at the UK. Here's the spike that we just ran into at 8 o'clock. Or 7, I guess right around 8 o'clock is when we hit this one. So even though the dollar started moving a little bit earlier, the euro dollar currency pair took a little bit longer, and 8 o'clock was 7:30, 8 o'clock is really where this one happened. So a little bit of a delay in this one because it's not a proxy. It's a comparison between the two. So interesting trade setup. Now, what did we do with it today? It's already hit the 1 to 3, 1 to 5 target. And again, those were ones that were adjusted off the 30-minute zone. That game plan was given yesterday. I would say watch out for that 121.70, probably one more time. It will be hit number 3, which makes it a little bit riskier, but again, it is high in the curve. We know there's an hourly and a 4-hour zone there. Again, if price is able to pop back up into this range, there is a potential short. Now, if price continues to push lower, we do have an interesting zone sitting right in this level here, coming in right at 121 flat, right? 121.00. This is 5.7 there, but it's a level where we've had a base. We've seen a push off of it here. Strong push up at the European Open here, again on the European Open, and strong push up again. So right now, looking at this, if we continue to push lower, maybe Powell says something that does bring the dollar strength in, it's a fall or a drop of about another 50 pips. If we can grind down, maybe this one for the day, maybe we have a grind like this, but to the downside, this 121 level could be a very interesting long, basically playing against the dollar strength we're seeing today. It's pretty easy to see European Open, European Open, European Open, and then this is the European Open down. Are we going to get this type of reversal from today?
All right, so now I just want to be clear. Right now, what Brian's looking at here, I'm going to bring this up over in the euro US dollar, and I'm going to, again, we're not making buy or sell recommendations. This is really important. We're not telling you what to do, but what Brian's saying right now is we're sort of in the middle of a zone. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of a wait and see mentality. We know down here, and I'm going to actually draw it on the chart, if we were to get down to this 121 even level, so I'm going to put it in down here. Let's just put this on the chart. This is an area where we would expect to see buyers start coming in if it pushed down to 121. We have no crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen. There's this strong emotional move in the dollar. We really don't know why. Again, we saw a corresponding move in the gold. So really, it's a sort of, for price action, it's if this, then that. If we were to get down to 121, there might be a buying opportunity down here. Not saying there is going to be, but that's where we would expect to see buyers come in if it pushed down here. Sellers, just up above, we would want to, and this is the level up above that Brian had called out before. Give me 1 second. Where we've seen sellers step in, which is right around here on the chart. And I'm just kind of roughing it in. We've seen it before back here, 1, 2, this morning it hit there. And then there was this strong emotional move down, which is the dollar getting stronger against the euro. If it were to come back up into this range, we might expect to see selling pressure up here. We might expect to see buying support down here. Again, nothing is for sure, but right now we're sort of in between these zones. Something to look at. particularly with Powell speaking in 45 minutes. And one way to play these, now I am in the binary options for the euro. This is a shorter duration one. This one is the 11 a.m. So Powell's speaking this has got an hour and 45 minutes to go. Powell speaking in 45 minutes. If something were to start moving dramatically, there might be opportunity to try to grab one of these binary options, whether it's going down and you'd wanted to sell it, or whether it was rebounding and you wanted to quickly buy it. If it's going to be moving through multiple strikes, again, defined risk, defined reward. Not sure what's going to happen, but there's definitely volatility, and we're seeing it in the U.S. dollar, and we're seeing it in gold. So that's what we're looking at here. All right, let's do one more thing before we call it a day, because not only is Powell speaking today in 45 minutes, but we've also got oil inventory at 10:30. So I don't know if you want to do a quick little analysis, Brian, on oil inventory.
I had already pulled it up real quick for us. So crude oil is also approaching a level. Remember the 62.50 level we mentioned yesterday. The session is actually a larger time frame level. It's been up here before. You can see we took a small bounce off of it today. And if we wanted to adjust it by a little bit, we can move it back up into this 62.60 range. Decent level. It's been up here before. This one, unfortunately, today is going to be at the mercy of whatever Powell says, because again, the dollar is directly related to the price of oil. So it's kind of one of those things. While on a purely technical oil inventory based report, this is a great shorting area. My opinion, it may unfortunately not be able to hold it depending on what Powell says. And like I said, there's been a lot. The one thing I do like about this, again, you can see right down here, this is kind of that 2 o'clock midnight. This is the European Open. We had a lot up, a little profit taking, and it's rallying higher again. Remember, when we've seen these early morning pushes in oil, we've also seen reversals come back out of it. And here, I can just speed up the process here a little bit. Looking at kind of the call spread, this one, again, the binaries are a little bit rich right now. I think there is a call sitting right in this area. And again, of your call spreads, I'm always looking at the different strikes of call spreads. Sometimes I look at the 2 hours. I looked at the dailies, and unfortunately, there wasn't anything really, close in here. Everything was pretty far away. When I went to the 8 a.m. to 2:30, there was one actually that wasn't too far off. So again, you got to use this and kind of find the right product that matches you. As you guys can see here, this using the same drawing now, bringing a rectangle in and mentioning that area right here, the 62.60. We're kind of in the same wheelhouse. Like I said, we got an hour and a half to go. Powell will already start speaking. Any other day, an area where I'd be, pretty interested. I just want to see what's this blockbuster question that had the dollar moving so much this early, and will we get it in the first 15 minutes that Powell starts speaking? That's going to be the big question today. And again, if you are probably not the best idea for you guys to step into this trade.
Yeah, but it's good to know that we're probably going to see some volatility in euro US dollar, so it's a hot spot to look at, as well as gold, because they're going to they'll move together, because that appears to be why we're seeing just big emotional move, no real news. Pay attention to Powell. He's going to be speaking soon. And then there's the oil inventory reports as well. If you got any questions for Nadex, please email us, customerservice@nadex.com. For Brian, he is accessible. support@keeptradingsimple.com. He loves to interact with you guys. You can certainly shoot him an email. I know Brian likes interacting with y'all, and I know he does so regularly throughout the week. With that, I want to let everyone get a chance to go get a cup of coffee and stretch your legs before the equity markets open in 20 minutes. And then let's see how things play out when the fun begins, when we got Powell speaking and doing his testimony once again today. And I know that there's going to be additional testimony from other Fed folks throughout the day. So probably going to be an interesting day for the markets as people interpret what the Fed governors say. With that, want to wish everyone good luck in the markets. We'll catch you again tomorrow morning. Thanks, everyone.